Hi, this is Corey Jensen. This is my ePortfolio review. Um, Going into this program, I chose the non-degree option. I have a master's already, so I chose this option and thought this would be best. Um, and I was kind of in a unique position compared to most students that probably come into this program. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that, and that will kind of explain my thoughts on the rest of this. Um, so I was a teacher up in Nebraska for 7 years, got my master's, decided I wanted to get into administration. I was offered a job in my in the town that I live, and they offered me the building administrator job, which I technically can't be called a principal, but I was doing all the duties of a principal. So as I was going through this program, there's a lot of applicable things that I learned and that I could put into play right away. So as I was going through these courses and learning these things, I was able to use some of that knowledge right away as an acting principal. And I think that was kind of unique. It kind of gave me a different perspective, and I looked at some of these classes through a different lens, and I was able to learn a lot. So I'm just going to go through some of these highlights of the ePortfolio. The first thing that I thought was really helpful was laying out my goals. And a lot of people have goals, but they don't write them down. This allowed me to actually write them down and think about those in a more deep manner. So in the next 5 years, I said I want to complete my master's, which I'm hoping to do, and then pass the exam, which has been pushed back due to COVID. So I'm going to be taking that in late summer. And then I want to establish myself as an administrator. So I don't want to be a know-it-all. I want to be a learn it all kind of administrator. 6 to 10 years, I hope to continue my education with district leadership. And then again, I just want to continue to try and be the best administrator I can be. Beyond 10 years, I hope to become a district leader at some point, and we'll see, that might change. If I really enjoy doing what I'm doing, I don't think there's going to be any sort of need for me to change. I just want to continue to try and be the best that I can be. Leadership philosophy, I think this was a great exercise to do for the program. For my leadership, I was in coaching. I've been in coaching my whole educational career, and I think some of those coaching leadership philosophy mesh well with building administration. And I kind of like the shared instructional leadership, where I give a lot of power to the teachers, and I show trust in them to make the right decisions, and we kind of work together. It's not me trying to pull them along. We're all pushing in the same direction. So that's my leadership philosophy in a nutshell. As I said, plan a study. I did the non-degree endorsement, so I did actually these courses in a short amount of time. I think I started last summer and got through the program. This is my last class before I quote-unquote graduate. Resume, I updated my resume, which is good to do. And that's a lot of these activities that we did. It's just helpful to keep you updated and actually getting you staying up to date on a lot of these things that you should already be doing. Now going through these, I'll just go through some of, I could talk about some of my classes. The school law class was very helpful. As a teacher, you don't really know a lot of those laws that administrators have to abide by. So it kind of opened my eyes on the kind of why some of my past administrators did things a certain way. I think one of my favorite classes that I take was the school and community one. And it helped me really take a look at the community where I'm at. And it got me looking at some of the things of how I can help this community, why the community does things a certain way. And the biggest thing that course taught me was just to communicate, get active in the community, and don't be afraid to get the community to come into your building. That can solve a whole bunch of problems when you're all in this together. You get the community involved. They're more interested in school. Students are therefore more interested, and it's all positive. Attendance rate, mental health, more desirable place to be, and you just build trust throughout that community. And I think that's one of the biggest themes that I took away from this program, is just to collaborate and get the community involved and communicate. Another thing that I like to do through this course was the case studies, and a lot of administrators will see. I think my favorite one was the new role in the parent organization. I come from a small school, so that is something that we will do, is we introduce these new things and you're going to run into problems. And I think that case study of the parent organization was a great one. Another one that I witnessed firsthand this year was the evaluation one. And I think that opened your eyes a lot for what principals will encounter on a year-to-year basis. The activity form was a great thing. Obviously, being as an acting principal this year, I was able to get a lot of these activities done relatively quickly, but putting them on paper and labeling them, and obviously connecting them to a standard and component was a great activity for me, and I learned a lot doing these activities. The district, elementary, secondary, me being a K through 12 administrator, like I said, I gotta do a lot of these, and it's just good to connect them to components. Annotated bibliography. This was a time consumer, to say the least, but again, going through all these articles, reading all these articles, I probably read twice as many articles as I did in the annotated bibliography. I just didn't write about them, which is a great thing to do. It's just always being a learner and reading, and you get so much information on a variety of topics doing this annotated bibliography, and I thought that was a great assignment, although it was very time consuming. And then just quickly, I'm going to talk about just some of the themes that I learned going through this course. And again, I've already said some of them. Building trust is the main thing. Through every single course, you talked about building trust with your teachers, community members, peers, other administration, parents, and students. And I think that's one of the key things you can do as an administrator, especially new to the field, is just building trust with all those groups. Especially your teachers. I mean, you get your teachers backing you up, it'll solve a lot of our problems. And if you show those teachers that you trust them to do their work, trust them to be professionals, and show them that you're just here to help and support them, it goes a long way. You get happy teachers, you generally get happy parents and students. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I took away. What I would label 1A or 1B is build relationships, and that kind of goes along with building trust. If you build relationships with those teachers, with those students, with the parents, it goes a long way and solves a lot of problems, and you can get ahead of a lot of problems. So before they become big issues, you can solve them when they're small issues. So building relationships, getting out in the classrooms, getting out in the community, go to the school play, go to the school music concert, go to the athletic competitions, do all of that, and that just goes a long way for building relationships. And then the last theme that I'm going to touch on is empower those around you. And all of those kind of intertwine with each other by building trust and building relationships. But empower those around you, show that you trust them and you know that they are professionals. And they're going to do the best job that they can. You're just there to remove any barriers and help them as much as you can along the way. So again, my name is Corey Jensen. This was my ePortfolio review, and I had a great time taking these classes, being in a unique position, and a lot of the themes I talked about already, but learned is build trust, build relationships, and empower those around you. And I just want to thank all of the Fort Hays staff.